You're recording. Can you hear me, Connie?
Yes.
All right, cool. Just give it a moment. You see the participant screen on the line? On the screen?
Yes.
No, do you see it on my screen?
No.
Okay, good. So I can just see that. All right, we'll get going in 1 minute, everyone. All right, we will make a start. Hi, everyone. Michelle, I see you're on the line. Can you just confirm you can hear me okay? Allowed to talk? Maybe I needed to push that button. Can you hear me okay, Michelle? Just doing a test here.
I can hear you, yes, Jane.
Thank you for joining. It's good to see you again.
Mm.
All right, everyone, now we know the sound is working. Let's make a start. Today is our monthly educational webinar from Churchill Leadership Group. These are complimentary webinars to help leaders and teams in corporations and government agencies to get better at what they do. And it's our gift back to our audience to help you be successful in the areas of the expertise that we bring you. So today is all about strategies to help you excel the success of your new year. And we'll do it in 3 ways. We'll harness 2019. I'll share a variety of productivity strategies, different types of strategies that you can walk away using today. And we'll also include how to invest in your potential. All of them with the intent of helping you get better in 2020. So why is this important? Okay, so whether you are a New Year resolution person or not, the start of the year for most people is a time to reset goals, to reflect those type of things. However, by February 12th, which is just a couple of weeks away, we tend to lose steam and give up on those goals. So it's always good to have something very solid and strategies to help you stay focused on what's important for you this year, because we do fade. We also know that engagement is still low, so many of the strategies that I'll share today are to help your engagement, but also you can share them with your employees and even do them as team exercises. So it's about helping us get engaged by having purpose and ways to win. The other thing is we're overwhelmed. I don't think I even need to say that. We all feel it at times, particularly at work. And so the strategies we're sharing with you will help you focus, plan, and learn how to cope with all of the information and all of the expectations that hit us all of the time. And there are real costs to this, right? We're spending about a quarter of our time each week on emails. That actually seems a bit low sometimes, I think. But most of us, the vast majority of us, say a lot of those emails can waste our time. So already that puts us at a disadvantage. The vast majority of corporate executives and employees say ineffective communications is a big reason we're not successful. And more than half of us say that poor management is the biggest obstacle to productivity. So I say these facts, these research facts, knowing that the solutions we're giving you are helping you solve some of these. What are the benefits, though, if we improve in productivity and use some of these strategies? Connection. If we can improve connections between ourselves and others, that improves productivity. So one of the strategies I'll share is about connecting and building a sense of belonging with team members. One of the things we'll look at is to harness your potential, and we'll touch a little on strengths. And we know we improve our productivity and engagement if we do that. Teams are more productive if they're more engaged, and that's why I want you to think about these strategies and how you can harness them with your teams. And we're overloaded. We don't feel like we have enough hours in the day. And again, these strategies will help you focus and prioritize. So there's some of the reasons we're here. We have 15 acceleration strategies that work. And there's a couple of things I want to make sure that we're all clear on. The strategies that I'm going to send you today are simple. That doesn't mean they're easy. They are super simple. Some of them you're like, yeah, I've heard of that one. But the question I challenge you with is, common knowledge is not common practice. You may have heard of the strategy, but are you using it consistently well on a daily basis? And that's the difference. That's the key to results. So if it sounds simple, stay with me and decide which of these strategies you're going to use consistently. Because the reason they're simple is very purposeful. Confused minds do nothing. So if I gave you complex strategies, as soon as you get off here, you'll be back to your day job and like, I'll get to that soon, and you never do. So there's a purpose they're simple, and they are significant because we see them work. We see them work in all the executive coaching that we do. We see them in the workshops that we do, and done consistently well over time. They're easy to repeat and therefore sustainable strategies. Before I get into detail, just a high level for anyone on the line that doesn't know us, Churchill Leadership Group was formed to really empower talent to thrive in corporate America, American corporations with a global footprint, and government agencies. We operate in those regions, as you can see on the top right, and we focus on delivering 3 valued services to organizations: organizational development, leadership development, and higher performing teams. And we do that with over 200 coaches, executive coaches, consultants, trainers, and facilitators who are not only expert in their certified field, they bring decades of real leadership experience. They've been in your shoes, and they've learned, and they've learned, and they're just experts in their expertise. Here are some of our clients to give you a feel. A lot of our clients are in finance, technology, and healthcare, just to give you a feel of where we operate. And a little on my background. My job really is to lead the Churchill Leadership Group, and I am an executive coach. I do have over 25 years of corporate leadership experience, and I use my coaching skills and certifications really in helping clients understand their need and help them get super focused on what they need so that then we can bring in the right coaches to do the work. All right. Why do I know something about the subject of productivity and really using productivity to accelerate our success? It comes from real world experience from my corporate world in both Europe and the US. I've delivered a variety of productivity workshops and coaching, and that's where we get into the real practice of these strategies. Real practice helps us get really good at them and make progress. And I also get to observe across our clients globally and across our many coaches what works. And so I'm bringing you some of those today. We also have one of our leadership team members, Dr. Carney Evans. She's our marketing director and a certified analytics and data expert as well. So hi, Carney, just say hi to the crowd.
Hi, hello, Jane.
Thank you for being here. Carney, at any point, if you think I need to clarify something, I've missed something, I'm not making any sense, let me know, and I encourage everyone on the line to do the same. These webinars are only as good as the communal voice. What that means is speak up with questions, share some of your best practices that you know work. Let's benefit from your experience, and any other thoughts that you want to share. You can do that 2 ways. You can use chat, We usually do polls. We don't have any polls today. You can use the chat room, and Connie will keep a close eye on that. Or you can shout out. I do not mind being interrupted one bit. We're in this together. All right, let me just pause to see if there's any questions before we get into some of the strategies. Okay, so we have 15 of these simple strategies, and as you can see, they're bucketed into 3 types of strategies. Those are strategies that help us focus, those that help us plan for success, and those that help us grow as an individual, personal growth. You can see the 15 here. The ones that are bolded in orange are the ones I'm going to try and get through today. May not get to all of them, and I've tried to put them in an order that sort of makes sense, like where you should start. Again, the action for you is understand the strategy, decide if it's something you're going to use, even if you've used it in the past, and then commit to using it sustainably, daily, consistently over time to get really good with it. Simple is what we want for sustainability and repetition. All right, so the first one is reflection. And no surprise, at the end of a year, it's always good to reflect on what we've learned so that we can apply it for the next year. And so this is a question I ask a lot in December and January of our clients and even our coaches to say, okay, have you taken the time to slow down and reflect on those peaks and troughs of 2019? And unfortunately, guess what answer I get? Oh my gosh, yes, I haven't done that yet. Oh, that's a really good idea. I need to do that, right? So if you think it's important enough for you, take the time. I would suggest take either 30 minutes a couple of times over the next week or so, or 60 minutes and get a whiteboard. Here are some of the easy ways to do it. Identify your biggest achievements in 2019. They can be achievements in terms of results at work, at home. It can be something you've learned. It could be maybe achievement in a relationship. It can be anything. But what really stands out and why? Write it down. Observe it. Then think about, what did you learn from that achievement? What did you learn in obtaining it? What did you learn from the lessons, good and bad, from trying to achieve it? What did you learn from people along the way? Write down what you learned. The important piece is the writing down, because when we put it down in writing, it becomes visible and it soaks in a little more and we get greater clarity. So it is important to write things down. And then look at your words. What have you learned, and what can you take from that experience and learning that will help you accelerate in 2020? It might be one thing. One thing. My one thing was the need to focus. So when I did this reflection exercise, my strengths include a ranger, a maximizer. We'll talk about strengths a little later. They're strengths finder strengths. And that tends to have me try to focus on too many things at once and wanting to jump on good ideas and make everything better. Well, that was a challenge for me. And when I looked at the things that I actually focused on in 2009, really focused on, those were my biggest achievements. So my learning for 2020 is focus. Please take the time to reflect. Another fun activity as part of reflection is like a moving forward way to do it for 2020. So grab a jar at the end of each week, pop a note in there of a good thing that happened. You can do it as a team, you can do it yourself, and then at the end of the year, midway, whatever works for you, get those pieces of paper out and see, we forget so much. Take the joy of reflecting back on what you've achieved and what you've learned. As a team, it's a really fun exercise. And I've done it many times, and you'd be surprised, oh my gosh, forgot we did that. We need to do more of that. There's value in it. So that's strategy number 1, to help you grow, reflect. Any questions on that before I move to the next one? Any thoughts? All right. So like I said, I'm trying to put these in order, and my reflection realization from 19 is focus. And the second strategy helps us focus in the new year. And that strategy is choose one word for the year. What will your word be for 2020? Be clear on why you're choosing it. And the benefits are it helps you get a sense of purpose for the year. It helps you prioritize, therefore make decisions, make choices. My word for 2018 was patience. 19 was compassion for me, so I could use it with others. My word for 2020 is focus. I believe if I can focus on the top, most important, most urgent things this year, then I and my Churchill team will be more successful, and in turn, our Churchill clients. So I love this quote that I repeat to myself: be like nature, be like a tree, and drop the dead leaves. What that means for me is drop those things that are not most urgent and important for 2020. This sounds such a simple strategy of having one word. Boy, does it work. And that's why I'm in my third year of doing it. What will your word be 2020? Harness it to prioritize, give you a sense of focus of what you want to do in 2020, and help you filter, make decisions where you spend your time. All right, so I hear a word, growth is one of the audience words. Great, excellent. All right, so the next one you probably heard from Stephen Covey's work, start with the end in mind. I'm curious if any of you out there use this. This is very much a go-to strategy for me. It helps me and those around me be more effective. I think it really resonates with me because in my top 5 strengths, I have strategic and futuristic. So I have to know where we're going, and I have to know sort of help us figure out how to get there. So start each day and ask yourself, when it gets to the end of the day, what have I achieved? So that you have that guiding light and focus in mind. This is where I find it even more effective, is I started at the start of a meeting. I started with this question at the start of a coaching session. What is the most important thing we want to accomplish together today? That guides us. That helps me prevent in a meeting of a group or just a one-on-one or a coaching session, people going off on tangents, because they do, we all do. And what I tend to do in a meeting is I write on the board what we want to collectively accomplish at the end of the day. So when we do go off on tangents, we can just point to it. Notice when you ask this question of others, how fuzzy people are. They're not clear on what we want to achieve. And I believe that's a big reason why so many corporate meetings are not great use of our time. We're not focused. We're not clear of why we're here. We might know it's a meeting for Project X. We're just not sure of why at this meeting we're here today and what we want to achieve. So it's a great strategy. I encourage you to use it. All right. Next one is the power of 3. Think of this as a strategy that helps you focus your time. We saw earlier, I think it was 58% of people are overwhelmed that they don't have enough time in the day. I feel that all of the time. I really do. And so this is something I've been using for many years, the power of 3. Let's just explore this a minute. Our human mind thinks in patterns. If we think of a phone number, my cell phone number is 813-956-3445. Notice how I chunk it in sections of 3. It's how we remember phone numbers. So as humans, we naturally look for patterns, and the number 3 is the lowest figure that we can use that actually forms patterns. And that's what it means is when we see something once, the number 1, it's a happening chance. If we see something twice, it's a coincidence. If we see something 3 times, it's a pattern. So that's why the number 3 is a good pattern number, and it's the lowest pattern number because it takes 3 to create a pattern. Sort of common examples are below. I love the cereal, snap, crackle, pop. We remember it. It focuses us. So what does this mean when you apply it? It means I have an hour before the end of the day. What are the 3 things I need to get done? I am thinking about my week ahead on a Sunday evening. What are the 3 most important, most urgent things I need to accomplish this week? Right? So it's really simple and can be applied to any type of framework. What are the 3 things? Now, it's not easy because you probably are thinking of number 4 and number 5 as well. But it's really important to prioritize and get it down to 3, knowing when those 3 are done and you feel good about it, and that's really an important part of this, I've got all 3 done, we can then choose our next 3. All right, let me just pause a second and see if there are any thoughts and questions. I see another word for the year is empower. Boy, that's a really good one. I'm curious whether it's empower yourself, empower others, or even something different. If whoever put that out there, I think it was Joe, if you want to share anything, we'd love to hear it.
Good afternoon and good morning, everyone. This is Joe.
Hey, Joe.
How you doing? So it's definitely empower the people that I'm surrounded with and impact. So whether it's I want to empower my kids and my daughters every day, empower my relationship, but obviously empower my employees. So, and I think that's by being open, not being egotistical and being humble.
Thank you. Can I ask a couple of questions out of curiosity?
Sure.
What does open mean and not egotistical? If we saw you do it, what would it look if you weren't open and you were more egotistical, and what would it look like if you are open and not egotistical? Like, what's the difference?
So I'll start with my girls and then I'll go to employees. So if my girls came home and said they wanted to play football or wrestle, if my first reaction is, well, that's a boys' sport, or you can't do that, or you're going to get hurt, that's not empowering them of whatever their dreams are. Or, talking about being a doctor, an entrepreneur, hypothetically, or if they want to be a nurse, but, making sure. So that's how I do it with my girls. From an employee standpoint, when an employee comes in and says, this is broken, or I can't fix this, or I have a situation with X, Y, Z, first of all, I say, well, what do you think you would do? And so I ask them, so I first of all, I want them to engage in a dialectic conversation. I want them to feel empowered that they can do something, and come back to me. So those are 2 examples for you.
Thank you. And that last one really resonates, because a lot of the work that we do at Churchill with clients is empowering leaders to know how to coach. And by empowering leaders to know how to coach, they can empower others at a much more scalable way. And a big part of what you said is enable them to think about their solutions and what they should do versus us just giving them the answer, which is not coaching. Of course, it's telling. And that's a huge shift when leaders learn how to do that. So I want to wish you every success. Thank you for putting it out there and sharing some examples for everyone. Good luck with empowerment.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Joe. Thanks for joining in. Christine, do you have a few words of wisdom around why you've chosen presence and what it means for you, please? I gotta make sure everyone has the capability of allowing to talk. You're unmuted, Christine, if you want to share. If you can't, that's okay too.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Thank you, Christine.
Oh,
Good.
perfect.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah, looking at some of the words, I was thinking, given my role, I need to pick, rather than kind of take it from within. I was kind of thinking, I've got to pick focus or growth or something like that. But I decided to think about this one word and how powerful it could be. And I thought that, while I might have all kinds of goals around growth and focus and all of that, if I'm not present and if I don't come to everything with presence, I won't be able to do all the things that are coming my way. So I just thought that that word really sits with me, and I'm drawn to it. And I love the idea of having one word and thinking about that in each and everything I do each day. So thanks for that tip.
You're welcome, Christine. I love the fact that you're drawn to it. It speaks to you. There's almost like an intuitive response there for you with these words. And that's why these simple strategies work, right? When you can feel it, it's so meaningful for us. It goes deeper. And I wish you every success with that. I know it will make a big difference to others. And this is why these strategies are accelerators. They help you scale your impact. So thank you. All right, the next strategy is around connection and belonging. So I'm just going to, yeah, that's good. And this is very much in the area of being able to grow, and it's very much in our interaction of others. There's a lot of work out there. In fact, I just watched a LinkedIn video series by Pat Waters. She's a CHRO at ServiceNow, and she talks a lot about DIBS, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. And that's so sort of meaningful for me, and a big part of how we've built our team at Churchill, and how we try and work with clients in a collaborative way. Connecting with others is so important, because that's what we need as human beings. And I love this picture of these two beautiful birds, like making in this case, a physical connection, but I think it speaks to the importance of human connection. What I've learned over time about belonging is we can be on a diverse team. We can feel included in that we're invited to meetings, but do we really feel we're part of it? Do we feel that others help us belong there? Do we feel we belong? And when we do, engagement goes up. Our willingness to put in incremental effort, our willingness to be courageous, it all goes up. And so a big part of this is really around the humanity of leadership to excel this year. And I want you to think about how you interact with others in this strategy. How can you connect more with others and help them feel they belong? Okay, and I'm sure yours, Christine, your word presence, again, this sort of connects to that. So there's a program that we do at Churchill called the Humanity of Leadership. In fact, I did it recently at my university back in Birmingham, England. And it's a combination of emotional intelligence, conversational intelligence, talent intelligence, and really recognizing that we work with humans, not just widgets, which sounds obvious, but often we get so busy we don't really remember that we're humans, and we need these core things to thrive, such as connections and belonging and showing each other we care. So if you lead a team, a couple of things that you can do that are pretty fun but also productive are lunch and learns. Not just a meeting, but a lunch and learn where you bring a team together and really, what's on your mind today type of conversation. Not where you take over as a team leader. You just really round robin. What's on your mind today? What do you want to share? What do we need to hear from each other? What are we proud of? Those type of conversations. It's unbelievable. It gives everyone a voice and allows us to connect and feel we belong. Daily walkabouts or walking one-on-ones. If instead of doing a one-on-one in an office, you can actually physically walk with someone. Very often people will own up when you walk side by side, shoulder to shoulder, versus looking in their face. It helps people, particularly introverts, maybe to open up a little more, because they can think and maybe look at the ground as you walk, but you're together, you're connected. As a leader, have an open door policy, but don't make this mistake. I was coaching a senior executive at Electronic Arts. He let me share this story, but I won't say name for confidentiality. And when we first started working together, he would say to me, Jane, I love my team. He was newer to the team. Come in and see me all the time. I've got a really good open door policy. Within a few weeks in our sessions, he's like, Jane, I can't get anything done. People are always in my office, right? So you want an open door policy and that people are welcome, but consider boundaries. Consider times that your door is open so that you do have times where you have to get work done, and consider what you expect when they walk in. Like a big thing that I always expect is, if you're going to come to me with a problem, I want you to have thought through it and at least got some ideas of what a solution might be. And if you need my help, great, come in and see me, but don't come in just to complain. The other thing to connect with people as a leader is go first. Be transparent, share a little vulnerability. It could be something simple about what I'm struggling with. It can be what I did at the weekend, what I have fun doing, what my hopes are for the year. If you go first, you open up and show yourself as a human being, and then that gives other people permission to follow suit. So these are really enjoyable ways to accelerate 2020 by impacting your team. I'm sure some of you will have done some of these over time. I encourage you to do more of it moving forward. All right, this next one is around what you say to yourself, your self-talk, your inner voice. This is very much a personal growth strategy because only you hear that voice. This resonated with me recently. Our brain is a supercomputer, but your self-talk is the program it will run. So if I tell myself I can't do this, that's what happens, right? So this is really, really powerful. We've all got an inner voice. We've all got a self-talk. Is it working for you? The strategy here is to control it, adjust it so it does. So let me just give you a little more evidence here. I think that's Jackie Chan. I may be wrong. I apologize. Don't speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke, because our body doesn't know the difference. Word is energy, and it casts spells. That's why it's called spelling. We almost put a spell on ourselves when we say things to ourselves. So what we want to do is change the way you speak about yourself, and then in turn, change the projection of 2020. All right. On the right is a picture of Tracy. She's one of our superb executive coaches. And she is an expert on emotional intelligence and using communication to the insight of emotional intelligence to reduce conflict and improve communication. That's some of her specialties. And she tells a story, and it's a research story about crystals. And the story goes something like this. She does it so much better, but it's a bit more evidence. 2 jars of crystals separated in a lab. 1 jar of crystals you say nice words to. Love, support, kindness, etc. The other jar of crystals well, they're not crystals yet, my mistake. They're like water undergoing frozen, like water that's in the process of being frozen. So you talk to them as it freezes. And then you talk to the crystals over here, but you say negative words. The words might be dark, unimportant, selfish, failure, right? These are words that people actually say to themselves internally. What happened with the crystals in the research was the negative talk crystals, it was hard to tell they were crystals. It was just like ice. When they examined the crystals that had the wonderful positive words said to them, they were the most beautiful snowflake crystals. And the difference was highly significant. I thought that was a really cool, fascinating example of how we speak to ourselves really matters. So how do we do that? How do we make a change? More people suffer with negative self-talk than we think. So we want to start by building awareness. Notice when you self-talk what you're saying to yourself. Write it down. Write it down. Look for patterns. Observe the tone even if you notice it. What phrases repeat? How does it impact you in the moment? Keep a journal so you can see patterns. And then you can define what you want to change. Some of the consequences we see at Churchill with clients, particularly in executive coaching, is someone suffers from imposter syndrome. And one of the strategies we use is adjusting your self-talk. And it starts to turn imposter syndrome around. It's often driven by a negative self-talk. Another thing that gets in our way because of a negative self-talk is procrastination. Overwhelmed because we say yes too much because of what our self-talk is saying to us. An example of that is if I say no to this person, they may not like me. So that might be the negative current self-talk. If I decide to change that, I might decide instead of saying, I can't say no because they won't like me, I decide to say, if I say no with a reason, they will respect me. That might be my new self-talk. It's almost like a 180 change of words. Another simple example is you might tell yourself, I can't do this. To change that, it might sound like, I can do this if I learn X, depending on the situation. I hope this makes sense. Connie, is this making sense to you?
Yes, it definitely makes sense. I resonate with the procrastination and saying yes too much.
Yeah. And those are just three of the most common examples of where we see self-talk getting in our way. So if this gets in your way or gets in a way maybe of someone that you work with, it's a great strategy. Observe, make a note, see the patterns, decide on what the change you want it to be, and practice using that. Every time you hear yourself say, I can't do this, you're literally going, stop, I can do this if I learn X. Okay, so stop yourself in the moment and switch. Okay, we're almost at I think the last couple here. This is something important versus urgent is something we're going to send you, or Connie's going to send you as a follow-up to this webinar. We have a blog that goes into a little more detail, but again, it keeps this simple. This is also known as the Eisenhower principle. Focus on what's important versus urgent. Okay, by important, so this helps us plan, right? This helps us plan our day. It also helps us focus. So it's a planning strategy. And obviously during the day we can get overwhelmed and we can get to the end of the day and think, oops, sorry. We can think, oh goodness, I had these 3 things I was going to get done today and I haven't done any of them yet and it's 4:30, right? Feel that, we experience that. So using this strategy throughout the day, the start of the day, the start of the week is really important. Important activities are those that have an outcome that leads to the achievement of your goals for the month, for the year. So it's really important for me at Churchill this year to help our team improve project management. That's a goal we have. So that's important and has to be important every week of every year until we achieve that goal. It's a number 1 priority for me. It's in those top priorities. Urgent is something that gets in my way during the day. I'm focused on working on this project management improvement and someone jumps in, and it might be my husband, needs something, right? That doesn't mean I'm never going to help my husband, but I'm going to watch for these things that are trying to get in my way. People send me things to put on my calendar and I feel maybe I should attend. This is a way to filter and decide. And decide, and the blog we share will give you something you can sort of draw out. A snapshot here is on the right with the visual. Think of it in your head or on paper. Start on paper until you get used to it, of a simple XY axis where important goes from low to high importance, urgent goes from low to high urgency. And the ones that you need to prioritize are the ones that are both important and urgent, and so on. Pretty simple. Again, simple so you can do it. So if you're stuck at a crossroads and you're struggling to get the most important things done, this is a great thing that you can use. It's a strategy. I do it in my head all of the time. When I get confused, procrastinate, get a little overwhelmed, this is a go-to strategy that I use. Look for the follow-up email from Connie with the blog. Our final strategy is invest in you. This is a growth strategy. Has anyone here taken their Strengths Finder assessment and is doing something with it? Please shout up. Love to hear your experience. I'm putting everyone on mute here. Anyone taking Strengths Finder and are really proactively applying their strengths? Okay. Anyone taking Strengths?
Hey. Sorry. Hi. I am, but I've got that many pieces of paper here. I can't even remember my top 4. But I think my top 4 were selling, relationships, determination. And I think these have all come out at a really poignant time with setting up my business and all of those areas. I think is what is actually going to make it successful. And things like your webinars and also engaging with the networking events with coaching and mentors to actually learn from their experiences as well.
Thank you, Michelle, so much. Using our strengths in transition like you're going through is absolutely key, because transitions are hard, right? We've got to figure out so many new things. I also saw Christine's comments around taking it but not using it always, seem to focus on my gaps. Okay, so Churchill is a strengths accelerated organization. We built Churchill years and years ago to empower talent to thrive, and that means we have to really understand our talent in order for it to thrive. And StrengthsFinder, we're Gallup certified coaches. StrengthsFinder gives us a language with a lot of resources behind it to help us identify our strengths. So that's why we use StrengthsFinder. Over 23 million people have taken it, but nowhere near that amount are actually applying it daily for greater growth and performance. So based on Christine's comment, because what you're saying, Christine, I've taken it, but not always seem to use it because I focus on my gaps. That's very, very common, and it's human nature. We grow up, people telling us to focus on the gaps, the weaknesses. Maybe in a performance review conversation, you have all these successes. What's your area for growth? What are you not good at? Well, Gallup's research, which is global, in thousands of organizations for many, many years, tells us if we want to get better, if we want to grow, we have to focus on where we're naturally talented. So there's still a gap, because natural talents aren't necessarily our strengths yet. It's where our biggest potential lies. So if we want to grow, you want to focus on our top 5 or our top 10, because not only are those our natural talents, it's where we will grow the most. If I focus on my strategic, my top 5 are on the screen, versus my bottom 5, one of those is adaptability, and I invest the same amount of time and energy working on both of those, my strategic will grow like this, my adaptability will grow like this, because I don't have the natural ingredients. So it's no good me working on my bottom 5. I need to know about them. I need to be aware of them. I need to recognize when they might get in my way. I need to partner with others that are good at them. If I'm going to grow and continue to grow, which in its sense is filling the gap, I need to focus on my top 5 and my top 10. Let's think about it. Human beings shouldn't be well-rounded. It's impossible. That's like saying I'm going to shove all my 34 on the StrengthsFinder assessment into my top 10. It's impossible. It is teams that are well-rounded. That's why we want diverse teams that are included and feel they belong. And diversity comes in many ways. And one way to create a diverse team, or recognize, more importantly, diversity in a team, diverse value, is to do strengths. So this is my recommendation for you based on this webinar today. Take this StrengthsFinder assessment. Go to gallup.com. It is $20 for the top 5 or closer to $50 for the full 34. That's step 1. When we do strengths workshops and coaching and learning journeys, we talk about a yardstick, 36 inches. Taking the assessment is just the first inch. Don't think you're done. 23 million have taken it, they're not all applying it. The magic, the growth and the performance is in applying it for yourself, helping others around you do it. That's why companies want to be a strengths-based organization. Facebook, Stryker, Cardinal Health, one of our clients, these are companies that are focused on harnessing the individual and team strengths for greater performance and growth. So here are a couple of tips. Take the assessment, know it, devour your results. Gallup provide lots of resources online that are free to do that. Then start to apply them. Simple way to do it is look back at 19. We've talked about that. Identify a success. Which of your top 5 did you use? Be specific. Don't just, oh, I used my achiever. What did your achiever do? How did you use that? How specifically? And just keep double clicking how to get clarity. Identify a 2020 goal and decide how you can use that insight of that talent to propel you with that goal. Keep observing your talent in action and keep learning. Way to learn, if you're ready for it, is to do a Churchill Strengths program as an organization, as a department, as a team, as an individual. Coaching, workshops, and learning journeys, we offer all of them. But there's plenty you can do to get started on yourself, but if you're ready to do it as a team, just give us a bell and we do it. We make it practical, and there are lots of different programs and strategies that we offer. What I really feel about strengths is you have this natural talent. What a waste if you don't identify it and invest in it daily. It is your biggest area for growth. It's your biggest potential. All right, so I think I saw a question here. How do I learn about leveraging my strengths? I touched that a bit. Yeah, become a master of your strengths. All right, so we're coming to the end. Final thoughts. Anyone on the line want to share a strategy that they use to help them accelerate that others could benefit from?
Jane, maybe you could share with us what your favorite strategy is.
Of the ones that I've talked about, start with the end in mind. Yeah, it really plays to my futuristic of where are we going, what does a destination look like. It helps me focus. It also helps me then use my strategic to explore ways on my own or with others on how to get there. Yeah, so that's the number one. I use it in combination with my word of the year, which happens to be focus this year, and also the 3 things. I can't do 12 things in a day, but I can usually do 3 things really well. So those are a couple, but start with the end in the mind, bubbles up to the top for me. Thank you for asking, Connie. Anyone else got anything they would like to share with the group?
Well, this is Christine.
Hey.
I think one thing I recognize, having been in the field for a long time, helping others, is that we're not in a vacuum. And so you don't always have to rely on yourself to have all the answers, and that you should have, a circle of people that you can brainstorm with and reach out. And actually, I prefer doing that even outside the company, because every day you get to work with your own folks. And really just be able to have a quick 5-minute phone call or something just to spur your thinking when you get stuck. Because, each and every day you come up with brand new challenges, and you can't always be doing the same thing to solve them. So it's really having, as you were talking about, the connections and the network so that as a whole you can improve the performance overall and learn from each other.
Christine, thank you very much for sharing that. And if you don't mind me saying, when I know others think of you, we think about your incredible network and how much not only do you leverage it, but you nurture it. And nurturing it so that you're giving back to your network is so key. And I've learned a lot from you and made connections because of your wisdom. And for that, I want to thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Any questions before we sort of finish off here? Connie, any additional thoughts that you'd like to share?
I'm excited to learn more about my personal strengths. For those of you that don't know, Jane let us unlock our full our full 34 for Christmas as a gift to our Churchill team, and I love reading all about it and finding out about it, but I do feel like I'm kind of in that vacuum situation of, okay, now I know, what do I do with it? So I'm really looking forward. I know you've got plans to have some strength coach programs work with us, and I'm really excited about that. That's got me what I'm actually most looking forward to this year. In my word was growth, so I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Thank you, Connie. I'm really excited that you're really excited because I'm so embedded in strengths, and I'll be honest with the group here, it reminds me of that about the cobbler's shoes, right? The cobbler's already fixing everyone else's shoes but not their own. And I get so busy that all I'm thinking about strengths in my head, but I'm not necessarily spending enough time with our internal team really helping them grow in that space. So I decided, like, I need to get out of my own way, and we're having one of the Churchill coaches, Tracy, a different Tracy who's based in London, do a strengths program for us. So it'll be a mix of webinars, one-on-one coaching, resources, tools, activities to help all of our team not just understand our strengths and apply it to our priorities for the year, but help appreciate each other's strengths and how best to work with each other. And I'm looking forward to it. Some of our team are further ahead, and Connie, obviously you're newer to the team, so I'm excited that you're excited. Thank you. It works beautifully well. Okay, so I ask you to think about which of these strategies you're going to take and implement. Maybe it's one, maybe it's two. Who will you share them with, individuals or your team? Remember, they're simple for a reason, so that you can sustainably practice with them and they become second nature, and as such become a great behavior that accelerates your growth and performance. So if you need help from Churchill, two of the programs that we do are productivity workshops and coaching. Of course, we go a lot deeper with lots of experiential practice, not just with these strategies and others, and we tailor the program to the strategies your team needs the most. We also do a lot of visioning, values and strategic planning. We're doing a big project with the Navy right now, helping them do this work. We have some excellent coaches, and that really helps the executive team in one of the Navy divisions really focus for the rest of the year. So if you need that type of help, or of course strengths, you know where we are. If you want a one-on-one with me, if you're an HR leader or a business leader in a corporation, I prioritize my time to spend with you, so feel free to email us. You can solutions@churchill-lg.com, or if you have my personal email, that works as well. And then our next webinar series is a series focused on coaching. That will be February, March, and April. Look for invites. We're going to work on the definitions of the different types of coaching, why you need to do more of it, and how to harness coaching to drive initiatives in your organization. So please join us and spread the word. I'll leave you with a fun activity. This is based on research. It's aligned to productivity. And the research, including from Stanford, a couple of the professors there have been doing research around your mindset about your weekends. Instead of thinking of your weekend as just, oh, I've got to do this errand and that errand, think of your weekend as a mini vacation. That doesn't mean you don't get stuff done, but really think about some fun things you can do and let that be the focus of your self-talk. The research says we come back on Monday happier, as well as being more productive. So make your weekends more refreshing and think of them as a mini vacation. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining, and look for the follow-up email with that tool from Connie. Thanks for being here. Take care. Bye-bye.